Hi there, it's Raga. Welcome to my channel. I'll be reviewing the WF-C500 Sony earbuds today. These are the ones that I'm talking about. For the Indian pricing, it comes around 5,000 to 4,500 depending upon the website and the sale condition in it. Let's get straight into the video. So let's just start with why I chose to buy them. Number one is the overall impression of Sony. So I have been a big fan of Sony as a brand across everything that they do. So that ranges from the really nice television channel to their television sets, their music systems, their other headphones. They also had very good range of mobile phones that I used to use back in the day. So in general, I was really happy with their software as well as the sound quality that all of these appliances had. I've also used the headphones before, so I decided to go for these ones. Now, there were some particular design considerations that I also considered while buying these. The number one consideration was the shape of the earbud. This earbud is completely round. So when you put this into your ear, it just stays in there. And when you look into the camera, they are just seamless. In general, a lot of the earbuds generally have an elongated end over here. So it will show up on the camera as well as it will fiddle with your looks. So that was one very important thing for me. Of course, there are some other few brands which also have this kind of design which is completely invisible. The second consideration was also the fact that it had buttons. So it has buttons both on the right and the left earbud. Previously, I had really cheap earphones which had touch function in it. But the problem with that was because I have this curly hair, when you adjust your head, they get pressed and the music stops or goes to the next, or stuff like that happens. Even otherwise, if you are like just adjusting your earphones like this, it's not really convenient to have a touch system there because it gets stimulated and all kinds of things happen. So I really wanted like a button on this, and these were one of these rare ones which had this shape and buttons on it, so I chose them. But why I'm making this video and asking you to not buy it is there are many disadvantages with this. Forget about the sound quality because it quite is very subjective as to how you like it. In general, if you have a lot of bass, people would like it, but this is not about the sound quality. I'm talking about other things. The number one consideration, it has been a year, so I bought them in December 2023 and it's right now February 2025. The warranty is 1 year. The left earbud actually gave up, I think, after 8 to 9 months. Since probably the last November or December, I have been having problem with the left earbud. It initially did not charge, and when then you like maneuvered its position into the charging case a lot, and then it kind of came to charge, but eventually it gave up. It's not charging now, and when I checked with the company, this is out of the warranty period. It cannot be replaced. If you do want to replace it, you will have to pay for it, which is around 3,000. So it's almost the price of the original earbud, so you don't really need that. Secondly, these earbuds should last longer because earlier I used to really use the cheap ones which costed me around 1,000 rupees and they are still functional, believe it or not. So this giving up so early is totally not expected, and I would say poor quality. The second consideration is that in between the usage, I somehow misplaced the charging case. So I was using it like without the charging case for some walk or something, and I don't know where I had misplaced the charging case. And I could not find it for a few days. So I thought that I have actually lost the charging case somewhere on my walk or somewhere. So I wanted to buy a new one. And when I looked up, there is no replacement charging case. Now, this is like a mid-tier earbud. This is not the cheapest one. So it should have the replacement for its parts. But this particular model does not have a replacement for either the earbud, like the individual left or right earbud, or even the charging case. So that's a big no-no. The third thing is that small problems with the software which are actually really big. So earlier on in my earbuds, when you place the earbuds back into its charging case, they used to disconnect from the mobile phone on itself. Now that's a really good functionality to have because you can't really always switch off both the earbuds and put it back, but this one do not disconnect when putting them back into the charging case, and the music goes on and on and on, and what ends up is that it's not charging. So that's one very small but very important functionality that I wanted to have. Secondly, although it has buttons, there is only the function of the button on the right earbud. So the functionality goes like this: if you press it once, it will play or pause the music. If you press it twice, it would go to the next song, and if you press it thrice, it would go to the previous song. But this functionality is very limited, especially when you have to press the button thrice. It has to be done at a very, very specific time period, and most of the time it does not work. So you almost never can go back to the previous song when you operate through this. The early and the cheaper earphones that I had a really good functionality in that sense, that if you press the left earbud, it would go to the previous song, and if you press the right earbud, it would go to the next song. So I do not know why Sony did not employ this kind of thing. It should have ideally done that, or at least had some function for the left earbud too, and it's just more intuitive to have the next song on the right side and the previous one on the left side, because that's also how it is in the app. But yeah, very, very inconvenient, I must say. So the fourth point is the fact that the earphones should disconnect from themselves, meaning you can disconnect to the mobile phone from the earbud itself. This one does not have that functionality. Now what happens is, because if we are living in a world that has multiple mobile phones, laptops, televisions, tablets, etc., with which this earphone has been paired, once you take it out and put it in your ears, it gets connected to the last device that it connected to. But if you're living in a home with multiple devices like mine, you never know, or you are not always likely to remember which was the last device that it had connected to, whether that device has the Bluetooth on. So it just randomly connects to a device. It is very difficult to figure out which device it has been connected to. A very logical thing would be to press some button, get it disconnected from whichever device it has connected to, and just turn on the Bluetooth on the device that you want to connect it to now, and just connect it again. But that's not possible. So you really have to search for the device that it had got connected to, disconnect this from that device, and then connect it to the current device that you want to use with it. It is extremely inconvenient to do that. I particularly have this one paired with almost 8 devices, and I live in a home that has these multiple devices with Bluetooth on all the time. So it's really inconvenient. Again, the cheaper ones, the 1,000 rupee ones that I had this functionality that you could disconnect from whichever device that you are using from the earphone itself, which is super convenient, and it does need to have this functionality. The other thing is about the microphone on this device. I generally tend to use this earbuds while I go for a walk, which is on a very busy Indian road. So it really has a lot of traffic, and mind you, it's a very noisy situation on the Indian roads. Or I will use it in a gym or somewhere where I'm walking or something like that. This one, even if you're not walking and you are sitting in a silent room, the people on the other side are always complaining that they cannot hear you. Plus, if you're using it in a noisy environment, because noise cancellation is not that great, they continuously hear the external noises a lot more than they hear your voices. So it's almost kind of impossible to talk with them while you're walking on a road with this. And even if you're using it in a quiet room, people are still complaining that to use the inbuilt microphone of the phone that you're using it with. Now, I have tested this with two of the phones. One is the iPhone 15, the other is Samsung. So irrespective of whether it's an Android, an iPhone, a high budget phone, or a low budget phone, the microphone isn't working well. It almost is unusable as a call-in device. So overall, it has been a really poor experience to use them. I would strongly advise you to not buy it. I would also like to know, what are your considerations with the earbuds, apart from price and sound, that you look for while buying an earbud. Consider subscribing for more such talking reviews, culture talks, and of course a lot of singing on this channel. I'll see you next time.